appears to be government money in
Right.
'07, and we don't know the process by which they've spent that money.
Right, and of course this all got started with a story generated by Matt Dixon at the Bay Herald. You know, writes a story. You know, hey, this organization needs to be defined by somebody, and so I officially requested the checkbook for 2 years. I actually was pretty surprised that we got that. A week or so later, the reporter, Matt Dixon, has been actively going through the checkbooks and asking questions, and apparently they had cut him off. And so he called me and he said, "Okay, Jerry, well, I've been officially cut off." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm not going to take a move until they officially cut me off." So, ladies and gentlemen, I have in my hand, I have now determined what it takes to have democracy stomped by an economic development organization.
You've officially overstepped your bounds.
I overstepped my bounds. How dare I ask how you're spending my money?
Yes.
So this is my letter to Florida's Great Northwest, pursuant to Article 1, Section 24 of the Florida Constitution and Chapter 119. I am requesting inspection of the following public records. Number 1, complete employee list for Florida's Great Northwest, including contractors and or seasonal workers. 2, salaries for the above named employees. 3, benefits packages for the above named employees. 4, a complete list of grants given through Florida's Great Northwest with dollar amounts for 07, 08, 08, 09. And finally, 5, an accounts receivable report for 07, 08, 08, 09. And I have in my fingers, you know, I like it when people tell me no. It just gives me the motivation to get out there and dig deeper. Ladies and gentlemen, when an organization circulates $4 million, the majority of which is taxpayer money, either through state grants or federal grants, you and I have the right to see what they do with that money. And I will tell you that I do not believe there is any reason why they shouldn't let us see that, unless they're doing something that they think we might not be happy about.
Well, especially since what they're doing with the money is getting together in a little conclave and deciding who to hand a check to.
Right.
And they're handing out these grant checks to various people, and we don't know how or why they arrive at those decisions.
Right. And so let me read the response, and just to let you know, this went to the governor, the lieutenant governor, Barbara Peterson, the First Amendment Foundation. I even sent this to the ACLU, Susan Watson, just for good measure. Mr. Cooey, Florida's Great Northwest maintains that it is not subject to the Sunshine Law and has requested an Attorney General opinion on the matter to substantiate the organization's position. Until clarification is provided by the Attorney General's office, Florida's Great Northwest is compelled to refrain from answering any further inquiries. Well, you know what, Florida's Great Northwest? What are you afraid of? I'm just a little bitty guy with a little bitty TV show. What are you afraid of?
Surely they have nothing untoward to hide.
Really, I mean, are we going to find some big hotel bills? Are we going to be buying liquor with our taxpayer money? Are we throwing private parties that we, the taxpayers, don't get invited to? Are we flying around the country? Are we jet setting to other countries? I mean, what do you have to hide, Florida's Great Northwest? For goodness sakes, you're helping your community.
Well, and are we writing contracts to prominent people and keeping track of the work they're doing for those contracts?
If I was helping my community, I would be very proud to show what I was doing to help my community.
You would imagine. We wonder if they have something to hide.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me assure you this story is not over. And the one thing, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. The Sunshine Law has a place in our government. There's no doubt about it. The bottom line is, if you're an organization that gets the preponderance of your dollars from the taxpayers, you should have an open door policy. It is the right thing to do. If you are unable or unwilling to do that, then you need to get out of that business. Because everything you do should be above board. It should be, you should be able to take that information with you to church on Sunday and show it to your fellow church members.
You know something, while we're at it, I'd actually like an itemized list of each and every job that was created.
Well, since they've
through that activity.
Since they've officially cut me off, we'll have to wait on that one.
And that may not be public information.
Well,
they may not.
All
be at liberty to release
I have to say about it is, each and every time we find one of these organizations, it is almost the same thing. Less than 10% comes from private donations. They live high on the hog.
Less than 3% typically.
They don't invite us to the party.
Right.
They only go to the nicest hotels.
Right.
I mean, look at Gordon Gooden when he went to England. I think his hotel was over about $350 a night, I think. You know.
Well, and they're handing out tax dollars to a whole variety of people for undefined, nebulous reasons.
Yeah.
And they have a whole slew of contracts, economic development contracts, for work that we don't have access to and for results that we don't seem to have access to. Well, there's just a lot of contracts and handouts out there. It reminds me of sort of the old late Roman Empire, you know, right before the Vandals and the barbarians came in and finished them off.
Hand out favors to their friends, trying to maintain.
Right. It's a patronage system, and it's just eventually when it gets so dense that you can't meet all the open hands greatly exceed the amount of money you can suck from the peasants.
Right.
Eventually that's critical mass. But
and then the wall comes tumbling down.
Yeah. Well, historically that's how it works.
One final thought. Florida's Great Northwest. Step up to the plate. Be accountable. Be transparent to the citizens that you claim to represent. Show us the money. Show us the dollars. And show us what you've done for your community. I'm Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson. Good night.
Good night.